Let's talk today about the fight between Yaakov and the angel. And this is where he begins to get his name changed. The angel says, your name is not going to be Yaakov anymore, it's going to be Israel. But later it becomes official. God says it to him. So let's start off with, first of all, the war between Jacob and an angel. It's not so clear exactly what this angel is and who the angel is and why the angel is fighting with him. All of a sudden, there comes an angel and just says, there he is, just starts fighting. So let's have a look. Let's just, in order to put this in the proper perspective, let's just this previous sentence. So he takes all of his, how does the portion starts off? That Yaakov is going and he hears that Esav is coming to meet him with 400 men. 400 men. And we talked about that yesterday. And Yaakov is afraid. He's afraid spiritually. He's afraid because of whatever reasons he's got. He's afraid because he finds his father has passed away, and he thinks that now, that's what he thinks anyway. He's afraid because maybe his merits have been detracted from him. In any case, he takes his whole family and he passes them over this river. Right? That's what we learned about in the morning, that he went to this place called Yah. So he said he took his family, took him over this nachal, this stream, and he also took everything over the stream. And Yaakov remains alone. Yaakov remains alone. What do you mean? Why was he alone? He took his whole family over this river, and he didn't go with them. So Rashi says, Shachach pachim katanim. He forgot small. Why isn't this being shared? This is not being shared. Huh? Let's try it again. There it goes. There it is. So Rashi says that Yaakov took his family over this river and he went back because he forgot small vessels. Okay, that's a subject. That's food for another time. And a man came, says, Vayabek ish imo, and a person started wrestling with him. Ad alot hashachar, until the morning. It doesn't say who is this person. Why did he start fighting with him? And they're fighting together until the morning comes up. What's happening here? Why did it? No explanation, just all of a sudden jumped him. What happened? So let's have a look. Rashi. Menachem Perush, Menachem, that's, he explains. Vayit afar ish milashen avak. He said he fought, this is Vayit abek. He says abek means that they lifted up dust with their feet. To this day, when wrestling, it's called itabkut. Al yedei nanui, because they're moved. But linear, to me it seems, says Rashi, Shru lashon vayit kasher. Vayit abek, what does it mean? Vayit abek? It means that he joined a person, right? When two people are wrestling, it's hard to tell if they're hugging each other, if they're fighting, if they're... Hu batar de abiku be pa'ovak lay. It says after he hugged him, the miyabek is from the language of aniva, being tied. This is the language derech shnayim shemit atzmim, two people that are trying lahapil ishet reyehu, to throw one over. Shebchobko, just one second, excuse me, I'm closing the door. They hug each other and they move with their arms, right? With their arms. They try to, Rashi says that the word v'itabek means that he's like hugging him. In other words, in order to throw him over. The rabbis say, who is this person that he's fighting with? This is the Saro Shel Esav. This is the power of Esav. And this sort of explains why it is that afterwards, when he meets up with Esav, that Esav doesn't attack him because he already took away the power of Esav. Yaakov already fought with this angel. Evan Ezra says, V'yabek, he also says the language of dust. She Allah avek beneim, there was dust coming up. Right? Rashi says the word avek means to hug, to become close. Okay, until the morning, the Ramban says, let's have a look back at Pasuk Chav Gimel. This is Chav Hey. We'll have a look back, and we'll have a look back there at Chav Gimel. We'll have a look back in Chav Gimel if we have time when we finish this, because these are very interesting explanations. There's the Malbim, and then there's the Kli Yakar. And then afterwards, we'll have a look back at Chav Gimel. Let's just take a little glimpse. Here's a nice long Ramban, right? Long Ramban. Okay, let's see what these other two say, and then we'll come back to the Ramban. All right, what is going on over here? Vayivater Yaakov Lavado, says the Malbim. Kavar, we already explained, and Parshas told us that Esav and Yaakov, they were created to be opposite in their natures. They were already fighting even in the womb. One is for evil and the other one's for good. Just like in general in the world, God created good and bad, physical and spiritual. Like it says, Zeh lu'umat zeh, one opposite the other. U'kenegdam bora et ha'adam b'mirkav mishnayim. And just like in the world is created this way, so also human beings, every human being has these two powers inside of him. V'natan lo hamamshala v'habechira, and man has the choice and the, how do you say, the freedom and the choice, la tosa maznayim, to tilt the scales, kafi asher yivchar, however he wants. Tov or ra, it can be good or bad. In the 6th chapter of the Tanya, it goes into this, right? The 6th chapter, the 9th chapter also. Kain asa shnei ha'omos nifradim. So it is these two nations, Edom and Yisrael, sorry. Edom, et zeh lu'umat zeh, one is opposite the other one, especially chapter 9 talks about this. Zel Hashem, Zel Azazel. This one goes to God, and this one goes to Azazel, the opposite. And these are both creations of God. By means of our power of choice. Bichalala Uma, in general, the Jewish people have the choice, is Yesh Bahem Latot, and we have the power to incline Hapelas, the scales, to good. 8 Yishmoru Yisrael Torah. This is a mistake. It should well, I don't know. I think this should be okay. Anyway, 8 in the time when the Jewish people do Torah and the commandments, as then Edom Nichna, then the world will be subjugated under the Jews. Just like in general, the physical will be under the spiritual, or let's say a person under his conscience, want to call it that, values. Surah is usually the values, and Chomer is usually the material. The values, but just like any person, a Shomer Torah, Elokav, a person that watches the Torah of God, then usually the spiritual overpowers the physical. He's not so much drawn after the physical world. Like it was in the first temple and the second temple. The Jewish kings, some of them were tzaddikim. Then there was the blessing of Yaakov. Like it says, the Kol Yaakov Yedei Esav. Then it was fulfilled what Yitzchak blessed Yaakov, that Yaakov would be dominant. Koach Hatzura v'Chomer. Remember, the power of the spiritual was over the physical. Like it's said over there in Parshas Toldot. But Benacham at the Torah, when the Jewish people leave the Torah of God, Yigbar Esav, then Esav becomes powerful. V'yichnu tachtav, and the Jewish people will be subjugated under Esav. Kachna atzura tachat hachomer. This is like the spiritual becomes subjugated to subservient to the physical. Like a person who puts his soul second and his body first. And everything in the world, yesh kochot elyonim amanhigim et kochot hatachtonim. Everything that there is in the world, there are upper spiritual powers and lower spiritual powers, for good or for bad. Chesed uleshevet, either for kindness and blessing or for punishment and for the rod. Kamo ba'aram, just like an additional a person that has a yetzer tov and a yetzer hara. Amanigim koach haseichol v'haneshama, and they try to influence one's intellect and one's soul. Koach hachomer v'koach habehamit. There is the power of nature, the power of the physical and of the animal in a person. So a person also has the intellectual and he also has the animal. Kain yesh koach elyon also is spiritually what's called the minister of Israel, the angel of Israel. Hu kedusha, this is holiness in general. Hashomeret Israel, this is what preserved the Jewish people. Koach haklali hamanun el-ra. There's also a power which entices people to do bad. This is what's called Samuel. Sometimes we don't even say the word, we just say that Samech Mem. This is the Sar of Esav. This is the power of Esav. Hanotel etzad small, which inclines to the left side, lahasit uladiach, in order to push people away from life and from being productive. Because since that Esav's existence depends, Elakesh Yisrael Chotim, only when the Jewish people sin, therefore his ministering angel, which is his whole being and his whole success, Zeh Kol Magmasod, this is the whole purpose, to make the Jews sin and leave the Torah and the service of God. Here we have a prophecy, clear prophecy. Here it is. Yaakov is fighting with the angel of Esav. Shateram Krav Yaakov Esav, before Yaakov comes to Esav, whether he's coming close to him to fight against him or to make peace with him. Interesting enough, this word krav, it's something like itabek, right? Litabek means also, right? He wants to say it comes like the word chabek. When people are wrestling, you don't know if they're hugging each other. Same thing, krav. Krav means to come close. Krav also means to make war. In any case, when Yaakov was coming to meet Esav, so now, hayalo milchamim asar shelo. He actually had a war against the power of Esav. Now we're going to see that some people say that this was just a dream that he had. It wasn't. The Kli Yakar is going to say that it wasn't so. You'll see. Hainu, namely, if the Yetzer Hora pratisha begufo, with the Yetzer Hora, individual Yetzer Hora of Esav, and because Esav was a general person, also with the Yetzer Hora in general, which is the general, what's called the left-hand side. Like I said, dinim, severities in the world. Sarah Uma, this is the power of this nation that wants to make the Jews do sins in general. Zera Yaakov Umato, to make Yaakov and the people of Yaakov, all the Jews, do sins in general. Okay, this angel took a physical form because this was a physical prophecy. Until she nidgala mamalach b'tzorat adam, it was a person. Like it was say the same thing in Parshas Vayera, that the angels appeared to Abraham. It says over there that they looked like they were guests. He gave them what to eat and everything. And he actually made war with him, not like with a dream, like the opinion of Hamor. I think that's the Rambam and the Ralbag. Ki halo solea al Yerecha. We saw afterwards that Yaakov, he limped. So it must have been that this angel of Esav actually hit him, affected him. But he fought with him, actual physical battle to see who was stronger, physical power of his body. And amazingly, Yaakov had the power to actually physically defeat this angel. When he saw it, the angel couldn't knock down Yaakov by means of the physical power, because Yaakov was very more powerful in his body. As therefore, he also tried something else to lahapilo, to knock him down by hitting him on his thigh, to knock him down by means of a takbula. And it says that he smote taka, the how do you call it, the calf, the thigh of Yerek Yaakov. Because nevak Yaakov imo v'lo yachal apilo. Yaakov also fought with him, and Yaakov also couldn't knock him down. That's why it says behiyapko imo. He couldn't knock Yaakov down. Yaakov couldn't knock him down. This is exactly what happened in the fight between Yaakov, whether we're talking about Yaakov, specific, this person Yaakov, that he had a fight with his Yetzer Hora, or we're talking the whole night, the Yetzer Hora was given permission to try to make him sin and to push him away from fearing God. And that's how it says that he was remained alone. What does he mean how he was alone? So listen to this. Why was Yaakov alone? Why did he leave his family? According to the Malvim, why did he leave his family? Yaakov was preparing himself for prophecy. The way the Rambam explains that how did prophets prepare themselves for prophecy, that they would separate themselves from everybody else. And sometimes they would have somebody play music, and then they would go into like a trance. They would go into like a trance, and they would lose all of their personality. And then God would speak through them. The only exception was Moshe. A lot of them would fall down on the ground. Some of them would take off all their clothes. They would remove their whole entire personality, the prophets. And Yaakov was preparing for such a prophecy. He separated himself from mankind. Didn't want to just wanted to be alone with God and receive prophecy. Therefore, he prepared to be by means of what? Taking all of his physicality away from himself. Yaakov. That's what it means. He remained alone. His soul was there alone. Mitbodedet im or elyon ruchni, and his soul alone was there with the spiritual power that created him, God. Shezeh himlitz b'mash katuv. This is what it says. Vayivater Yaakov levado. That's what it means that Yaakov remained alone. That the main she'ikar shem Yaakov or Moshe. Similarly, it's not spoken. What is when we say Yaakov is alone? That doesn't mean his body. When you refer to Yaakov or Moshe or usually any person, you're not referring to the body of the person. A person, if God forbid, he loses his legs, his arms, it's still, that's still shmerel. It's just shmerel without arms, without legs. The main person is the soul. The physical is just the garment of Yaakov. When it says that Yaakov remained alone, it means his soul was alone. Ikar Shem Yaakov is by the inner true identity of Yaakov, namely his soul, v'nishmato, and his spirit. Shezeh Yaakov Ikar, that's the main Yaakov. That's what it wants to say, that Yaakov, he removed all thoughts about his past, about his future, about just to be alone with God. What's alone? Shenafsho, Shel Yaakov, the soul of Yaakov, it was alone. And it was removed from any sort of egotism. But because there was given the reshut, the permission to the Yetzer Hora to make him do sins, therefore the Yetzer Hora was able to make a battle with him. Yaakov was trying to purify himself and be thinking only about God and receive prophecy. All of a sudden comes the Yetzer Hora, Shekoach HaGufni, which is the power of his body and his personality, and started to say to him, Yaakov, listen, what are you doing? Esav is coming to meet you. Maybe you should join him. Maybe you should. That's what Yaakov was fighting. The battle was, what's going to win? Jewish values or physical desires? They fought with Yaakov's spiritual powers. Therefore, the angel of Esav did not allow Yaakov to remove himself from his connection to the world. Therefore, he was alone and didn't allow him to be alone, muvshad mina ishalo, to separate himself totally from his personality. Why? Because Ishva chomer shalo achaz bo v'rotza litgaber alav. That's what it means. He warred against him. Yaakov was trying to cling himself to Hashem. All of a sudden came these strange thoughts and these strange ideas and tried to drag him down. And that's the war. That's the battle. And basically, we have to fight the same battle like every time before. If you go to pray in the morning, daven in the morning, all of a sudden pop these crazy thoughts into your mind. And, I forgot to do this. And then your cell phone rings and you forgot to turn it off. And you just can't, you can't concentrate. What are you supposed to do? You start to daven, all of a sudden somebody comes and asks you a question. Somebody says, that's my seat. You have to move over. And all these confusions, you have to fight a big battle just to remove your mind from these things, calm yourself down, and connect yourself and start thinking thoughts about Hashem. That's the battle. And that's the battle that Yaakov fought. The Chazal, the rabbis say, Malamed, we hear that the Vayit Abek means that all sorts of dust came up from their feet to the throne of glory, namely, that it was a big war until the source of his faith, that's what the angel wanted to do, to make him go away from the source of his connection to God. But Yaakov held his own. The angel could not defeat him. Because Yaakov, like we said before, Yaakov, that's the soul and the spirit of a Jew, overpowered with a tremendous power that he had, and the angel wasn't able to defeat him. Therefore it says, Vayiga b'kafa Yericho. Therefore it said he hit him on his thigh. What do they call it? The cup of his thigh, on the side. Shagam, Yaakov, even though the Yaakov, he was able to remove totally any connection to his body, but still there was a little bit of a connection to his body. Where? In the place of the Gira Nasheh. What's the Gira Nasheh? That's the place with the sexual organs. There, it's impossible to negate Chomer completely. Why? Because you need that for having children, right? It's a mitzvah. Like it says in Anshe Knesset Gedola, that they couldn't bottle the Yetzer Hora. It said that what happened? The Anshe Knesset Gedola, they saw that the Jews were going crazy for idolatry. So they fasted and they prayed and they negated the Yetzer Hora. And they realized that they did too good of a job. That as soon as they did that, it says that it says that the chickens didn't lay eggs anymore. There would be no desire for any marriage. Like it says, say for Shiri and Nefesh, another pasuk, Ish Charbo Yorecho. So what is this coming to teach us? A Horash Yeshla Nevuah Zet Yaakov is namely the nation of the Jewish people was shown that the power of Esav wants to fight against the Jewish people and to push them from Torah and faith. And Yaakov, that he represented the whole entire Jewish nation. Yaakov is the whole. It says he will nevertheless he will remain alone. The Jewish people can be calm, certain. This is betach badat ein Yaakov, like the chosen one, the precious one of Jacob. Hein am badad yishkon. The Jewish people are a nation that will dwell alone. But goyim lo yitchashev. The non-Jews will not be able to take us over. We're not considered among the non-Jews. No matter, even though that the non-Jews will war with us. Sheyirtzev lishtadel litchaber imo liot la'am achad. And they will try to wrestle with us and say, come join us and let us be one nation and stop your stubborn separateness. Lo yachalo. They'll never defeat us, but they are able to cripple us in the thigh. Shebedoro shel shmad b'yamei kedem hediach habanim mitorat Hashem. That in the sum of the generations, they are able to push some of the Jewish people away from the Torah of God. In other words, we see nowadays that the angel of Jacob, angel of Esav, does have a certain degree of success over the Jews, but not only all over the Jews. Just it says only in that area, especially intermarriage, it says Shem Yishmor. So that is the purpose of this meaning of this battle, according to the Malbim. The Malbim, by the way, he lived in Romania, Hungary, and that was a very, very terrible battle that he had to fight against the reform movement that there was there. There they called it a different name. What was it called? It was called the I don't know. There was a name for it. Not ontological. There was some sort of a name that they had for it. Here we have this beautiful Ramban, but I don't think we're going to be able to get to this Ramban today. We're already past our time, 3:30. Okay, let us learn. Let's just go a couple more sentences over here because it's very interesting, just so that we can finish this. It says, this was just finished, and it says, the angel saw that he couldn't defeat him, therefore he hit him on the cup of his thigh, and it was smitten, the thigh of Yaakov, when he was fighting with him. And the angel said, let me go. Vayomer shalcheni, let me go because the sun is coming up. And he said, I'm not going to let you go unless you give me a blessing. That's what Yaakov said. So the angel said, okay, what's your name? And he said, my name is Yaakov. So the angel said, I'm going to give you a blessing. Listen to this blessing. Your name is not going to be called Yaakov anymore, but Yisrael. Ki sarita im Elokim, because you fought for victory over gods, namely me, the angel, Vim Anashim, and people that was Lavan, and you succeeded. You won. You defeated me and you defeated Lavan. Here we say, therefore, Yaakov, Vayishal Yaakov, and he said, I'm sorry. And I'm sorry. Then Yaakov asked the angel, and he said to the angel, no, now you tell me your name. And the angel said, why are you asking my name? And he just gave him a blessing. Because Ramban explains, Yaakov wanted to know the name of the angel so he could rule over the angel. And he said, the angel said back to him, you don't have to know my name. Knowing my name, there's no benefit to you, because our power only comes from God alone. If you call me, I'm not going to be able to answer you. And God, also, if you're in any trouble, I can't save you. But now I will give you a blessing, because this is what I was commanded to do. And it doesn't explain what exactly blessing he gave him. The rabbis say that he let him know that all of the blessings, Shehodalo al kol brachot sham, b'makom hahu al korcho, that he was forced to bless him against his will. Ki lo ratza Yaakov lahamtin lo ad Beit El. Yaakov didn't want to wait until later on Beit El. He was going to give him another blessing. He didn't want to wait, so he gave him all the blessings over here. But interesting, Yaakov, so Yaakov wanted to know the name of the angel so he could control the angel, and the angel said, it's no benefit because I can't come anyway. I can only do what God wants. Okay. Wonderful. Here we go. Ready? Now we are learning Shulchan Aruch of the Alter Rebbe. We're learning the laws of washing your hands. The laws of washing your hands, there are 21 chapters. Oh, sorry. 1 second. I have to renew the share. There we go. Yes. There we go. Shalom Herschel. Wonderful. The laws of Netilas Yadayim. Every person, so when you wake up from your bed, Shachris in the morning, Bein asat tzurachav, whether you go to the bathroom, Bein lo asat tzurachav, or you didn't go to the bathroom, tzurach lirchotz yadav, you have to wash your hands, berevius alug mayim, with what's called one revius of a lug of mayim, which is a very small amount, and it has to be done from a vessel. Even if you don't want to pray, until after several hours. After several hours. Huh? Lifi, because you still have to wash your hands from a vessel. Why? Kala, the Rebbe is going to give the answer of the reason of the Zohar later about impurity, but this is just a regular legal external reason. Every person, when call Adam Kishakodesh Baruch Hu Machzir Lo Neshama, every person when the soul comes back is like a new creation. Kamosh Katuv Chadashim Lebakorim says Rabba Emunatecha, brand new for the morning. When you wake up in the morning, it's like you're raising from the dead. You're a new person. Sha'ad Mafkid Nishmaso, we give our soul Oifa all week. Kodesh Baruch Hu, and God, Machzir Lo Chadasha, He gives it back brand new. Veragua, and rested. Amazing, right? In the nighttime, you're so tired. Herschel, you have to turn off your. Thank you. A person is amazing. A person is all knocked out in the nighttime. He can't sit up. He's closing his eyes every 5 seconds. He's nodding off all the time. If you're driving your car, it's just totally dangerous, right? You're nodding off. You can't do it. So you sleep for a couple hours, you wake up, all of a sudden you're a new person. How does that happen? It says you gave your soul to God, and God gives it back to you all refreshed. Kadei, in order, lavod, Kodesh Baruch Hu, why does God give you your soul back? In order to serve Him. B'kol yecholto, with all of your ability, l'sharto, and to serve Him the whole rest of the day. Kizeh kol adam, because this is the whole essence of man. And if you're just working for food, for this, the animals also eat. Beavers have houses, you know. That we're not living just to improve our, a house, so we have a little bit of a better house than a beaver and a little bit of better food than a dog. That's the reason we're existing. No, the whole essence of man is a whole different dimension to serve God. Animals can't serve God. Therefore, we need litkadesh bekadushato. We have to sanctify ourselves with God's holiness. He told Yodayim, and to wash our hands from a vessel. In other words, this is not just washing your hands to keep them clean. That you should also do. But this is talking about washing your hands from a vessel, kadei, in order to show that lavod avodato, that we are serving, we're preparing to serve God, or l'sharto. Kamo Kohen, just like a priest, shaya b'mikdash, in the holy temple. Shahaya Mekadesh, that he would sanctify his hands from the kior, from this laver that was in the holy temple, right on the other side of the altar. And the Kohanim used to wash their hands and their feet because they used to go in the holy temple without any shoes. B'kol yom, every day, kodem avodato, before their service. Since we have to wash our hands from a vessel, therefore we should make a blessing. Natilat yadayim, and not rechitzat yadayim. We're not just washing our hands, we're what's called lifting our hands up. Natilat means elevating them. Because the vessel, shemimeno, that from which, notli yadayim, we wash our hands, is called natla. That's the name of it. It's called a natla in the lesson of the rabbis. Therefore, it's called netilat yadayim, that we pour it from a natla. Therefore, tiknu b'bracha, therefore we say netilat yadayim, to show that you have to have a vessel. So the word natla means to lift up, but the word natla also is referring to this vessel. It's called a natla. So al netilat yadayim means we're using a vessel to wash our hands in the morning. When you wash your hands, the water doesn't have to come on your hands, mikoach adam, from a person. Ela afilu shifshaf yadav b'toch hakli. Even if you have like a bucket, it doesn't say you have to pour 3 times. Even if you have a bucket and you can stick your hands into it, then that's good enough for this reason. This is not the reason for the tumah, the impurity, and etc. This is in order that you're a new creation and you're starting to serve God. Therefore, you can even stick your hands in the vessel. There has to be a vessel. Okay, what if you don't have a vessel, but you're just washing your hands in water that's poured over your hands? Shalom in a kli, not from a vessel, right? It comes out of the faucet. Oh, she'ein lo mayim, you haven't got enough water there for shir revis alug. You haven't got enough water, only a little tiny bit of water. So what if it's less than a revis alug? Then that's not really washing your hand. That's not really netilas yadayim. So what are you supposed to do now? You want to make a sign that you're serving God. You're a new creation. Lo yemana b'shvil zeh milavorech al netilas yadayim. This shouldn't stop him from making the blessing on netilas yadayim, a vessel. Why? Shelo plu, there's no difference. Rabbanan kivan sherochetz yadav b'mayim ksherim. Since you're washing your hands in kosher water, even if it's coming from a vessel, even if it's not coming from a vessel, to what is yes coming from a vessel. So therefore, if it's water, you always make this blessing al natilas yadayim. Again, we have not gotten yet to the reason that we wash in the morning. This is, if you want to call it an additional meaning, but this is really the first basic reason for washing your hands in the morning. You wake up in the morning and you're a new creation, therefore you should wash your hands with water. We say natilas yadayim because you use a vessel, but it does water. In this case, if you don't have a vessel, you can still wash your hands with water, and if it's done with water, then you make the blessing al natilas yadayim. But if you haven't got any water at all, or you do have water, but it's not kosher for natila, let's say the water is dirty or smelly or whatever, like we're going to explain, that if you don't want to pray until after a long time, in a way that you're going to remove your mind from washing your hands, if you wash them now, and you're going to have to wash them again, so then what should you do? On one hand, you have to wash your hands. But on the other hand, it's supposed to be washing in order to serve God. So therefore, what should you do? Now you're going to wash your hands now, and in another 4 hours, you're going to pray. Therefore, don't wash your hands in this, even in this not good water or whatever it is, but don't make the blessing al natilas. But if you haven't got any water at all, then if you want to pray, then what should you do? You should wash your hands off before praying with a rock or dust, or rub your hand on a piece of wood, or with a piece of cloth, anything that cleans off your hand. And then you make a blessing. Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al nekiyat yodayim, not al natilat yodayim, because you're not using water. That's if you want to pray immediately and you don't have any water. What if you don't want to pray immediately? Then you don't even have to wipe your hands off or wash them or anything like that. If you went to sleep and you've got your clothes on or pajamas or something like that, then you can make all the rest of the blessings. You don't make the blessing natilas yadayim. You make all the other blessings of the morning. Why? Because ordinary hands, that if you don't know if they're impure or not, we say they're okay, you can make blessings. So if you're in a place where there's an airplane, you're flying in an airplane, and there's no water to wash your hands with in the morning, no water. the whatever reason it is, they ran out of water, whatever it is, or you're tired, you can't get up. So it says you can make all the blessings in the morning without washing your hands. This is as far as we're going to learn a little bit differently in a moment. This is only for the reason of waking up in the morning, you become a new creation, and you're giving thanks to God. The only reason that they have, really why you're supposed to wash your hands, is only for two things: Shema Yisrael and the Shemona Esrei. So that's if you were laying on your bed and you had pajamas on and you probably didn't touch any covered part of your body. But if you sleep naked, in other words, even just without a shirt, then you're not allowed to mention any of the names of God or to put any words of Torah from your mouth until you wash your hands, or at least wipe your hands with anything that cleans off. And we said even rubbing them against a cloth or something, because probably you touched someplace which is covered, covered on a person, covered on yourself. Like for instance, maybe your thigh, your leg, that they have a little bit of sweat on them, and hands are always moving around. So therefore, what do we say? What do we say over here? A person, this is without Kabbalah. A person wakes up in the morning, he's supposed to wash his hands because he's a new creation. The best thing is to take a vessel and put water in it, at least a revis, which is a very small amount, an ounce or something of water, and wash your hands with it one time. We're not talking about 3 times or anything, one time. We're going to get to the 3 times eventually. We're talking about now the bones of the law. And if a person is laying in his bed, let's say he doesn't have any water, what if you don't have any water whatsoever? Then you can wipe your hands off on something else and make a blessing. Asher Kiddushan of Mitzvah Tov Etzivanu al Nikiyat Yadayim. I'm cleaning my hands. And before when you do that, then you can mention any of the names. Then you can say the prayers in the morning, etc. But if you touched a part of your body, you went to sleep and you didn't have any clothes and you touched a part of your body, then you are not allowed to mention any blessings, anything whatsoever, without washing your hands, or at least rubbing your hands against something to clean them off. Not allowed to mention any names of God at all. So here's it, right? So one of the main novelties of this law we just learned says, if you wake up in the morning and you had your clothes on, you had some sort of pajamas on, you should wash your hands in the morning, right? And say Nikiyat Yadayim. But if you don't want to pray immediately, then you don't have to do anything. If you were in your pajamas, then you can make all the blessings without washing your hands or cleaning your hands or whatever. Unless until you get to say Shema Yisrael in prayer. Then you have to wash your hands, rub your hands or something like that. That's talking about if you wore pajamas when you went to sleep. But if you didn't and you might have touched your body somewhere, then you must wash your hands or at least rub them on something that cleans off, because you're not allowed to mention any of the names of God if your hands touched a covered part of your body. And now we'll learn a little bit of the Mishnah. Just one moment. I'm just looking for the place to attach to the excuse me one moment. I'm just looking for the place where it is. Here, no, my Zoom address. No, here it is. All right, wonderful. Ketzad ma Kama Malkin Oto. How did they used to apply these lashes? How many, first of all? How many? 40 minus 1. 40 minus 1. Like it says, B'mispar arba'im. You should smite him 40 lashes. So it says 40. Why 40 minus 1? Why does it say 40 minus 1? Minayan, how do you know Shahu Samuch Larbim? How do you know that you just smite a person next to 40, and others 39? Rabbi Yehuda says, Arba'im Shlemo Tuloke. First of all, Rabbi Yehuda says you smite 40. 40. How do you know where? If so, where do you smite the last extra one? What does it mean? It says it's supposed to be divisible by threes. We're going to see it in one moment. The third one is so. If so, you start out on the shoulder. 1, 2, 3. Let's look in. Let's look in the. Yeah. Kama malkimoto. How many times do you beat a person? How many times? 40 minus 1, 30, 39 malkios. Like it says, b'mispar arboim. It says, kedei rishoto b'mispar. In second sentence, it says, the amount of his sins, you smite him. The third sentence, it says, 40, you should beat him. The rabbis say, what does it mean? B'mispar arbaim. And it says, to the number of 40. What does it mean? Menayin shu samuch. How do you know that it's next to 40? It's not really 40. And the Gemara explains, Hoyel, since v'lo katuv arba'im b'mispar, since it does not say in the Torah that you have to hit him 40 in number, but it says in the number 40. From here we learn that how do you know that the amount of beating is 40? In other words, a number which after that number comes 40. First of all, it says b'mispar, that's some number, and then it says 40, a number that's before 40. That's how the rabbis learn 39. Rabbi Yehuda says, there's no such thing as 39. 40. It says in the Torah 40 lashes, you give 40 lashes. Hey, if so, where do you give the extra one? Which extra one? Later on, we're going to learn, in 3 Mishnahs from now, we're going to learn that lashes have to be divisible by 3. That you hit the person gets smitten, 1/3 of the lashes are on his front, and 2/3 of the lashes are behind him. 1 on every shoulder. If so, the Mishnah says, according to Rabbi Yehuda, which says that you get 40 lashes, so try to divide 40 into 3. How do you get it? You get, it's pretty hard. 39 into 3, that's pretty easy, 13, right? What about here? It comes out 13 and 1/3. You can't give 1/3 of a lash. What does that mean? So it means that you give 39 lashes, 1/3 in the front, 2/3 in the back. Now you got 1 left over. Hey, how does he give this number 40? The extra one on the 39. So it says, it says, Ben Ktefav. This you give him between his shoulders. At the Acharon, the last one he hits, the law is not like him. Between the shoulders. In other words, you on one shoulder, on another shoulder, and and on the bottom of the back. So the last one, or on the front, so he says 1 on the front, 1 on the right shoulder, 1 on the left shoulder. Right? So that comes out 13 altogether. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 13. It ends up 13 in the front, 13 on the right shoulder, 13 on the left shoulder. What about the extra one? The extra one you do between the shoulders. And the law is not like Rabbi Yehuda. The Rambam explains that the Torah says you have to hit him. It says you should hit him according to the number. This tells you that the only of the approximate number. What does it mean approximate number? It says in the Torah, hit him 40 times. What does it mean approximate? It says you have to give him approximately how much he can take. Kama yochel yisbol. Because you have to remember, this is not a punishment of death. A punishment of death, there's no such thing as flogging a person to death, according to the Torah. It says the rabbinical ones, the rabbinical, sometimes it says makamach and yotzei nishmata. Sometimes when you do smite a person, but not according to the Torah. Torah, you don't kill. So if so, you have to smite a person, give a person lashes, only the number that you're sure he's not going to die from. Why does it say 40? You should never give, even the strongest person, you should never give him more than 40. Therefore, when you estimate how much a person can take, and you know that the person can take more, you never give him more than 39. Why? Because if it happens that you lost count, you gave him one too much. So if so, you only you only beat him the 40 that it says in the Torah, and you won't come to the transgression of Baal Yosef. You're not allowed to add. It says over there, Arbaim Yakenu Lo Yosef. That's the pasuk. You have to smite him 40 times and do not add on. It's a crime to add on more than 40. So therefore, if you have a strong person, a person that's like an ox, and this person can take 100 lashes and it wouldn't do anything to him, nevertheless, you can only give him 40. That's the maximum. What if you give him 41? Oh, then you did a sin. So it says, in order to be sure, give him 39. Therefore, if you go one over, it's not going to be a sin. Let's do one more. And only in low, we do not estimate for the person. We do not allocate to a person lashes only that can, a number of lashes that cannot be divided into 3. For instance, let's say that a person, we'll see it later on. We'll see it. In other words, let's say they say a person, this man can take 39 lashes. 39 lashes. Okay, give him 39. What if they say you can take 38? Can't take any more. No, give him 38, right? No, can't give him 38. It has to be a number that's divisible by 3. It has to be a number that's what? You have to give him 36. You can't give him 38. You can't give him 37. 36 you can give. It has to be a number of lashes that can be divided into 3. What next case? They estimated that this man can receive 40 lashes. Laka miksas, they give him 20 lashes. Va'omru, and they say, she'eni yochel lekabel arbaim. And they say, wow, if we give him a few more, he's going to die. Putter. That's it. No. Didn't divide it into 3. So they say, no, if you're going to give him one more, then he's going to die. Let's look at this in the explanation in the Mishnah, and we'll go back to the Mishnah. This is the I explained to you what it says here in the commentary here. And omdimoto, you do not allocate to him the guilty person except what you can divide into 3. The number of lashes that you can divide into 3. In other words, if the person says that if the judge or the doctor who's standing there says this man can only take 39, then you give it to him. But what if the person is weak and he can't take 39? So we don't say, okay, give him 38. We have to give him a number 36, 33, right? 33, 20, a number that can be divided into 3. 30. Kamosha Barana, like we explained before, you can never add any more on what is estimated this person can take. For instance, if they said, oh, this man can take 7 lashes, so we don't say, I'm sorry, 17 lashes, right? He can take 17, 18 is going to be too much. He can take 17, so we don't say, okay, give him 17. No, it has to be a number divisible by 3. You give him 15. And you don't give him 18 because you're not allowed to add on. What if they estimated that a person can receive 40 lashes? Chasar echad. Now there's 39. and they give him a little bit for Omdim and the people. Let's see there, Omdim and the people that estimated how much he can have, that he is made weak. The guy is dying. Say, oh, he can't receive 40, and Yocholakabel more lashes on those that he already got. He got 20. That's it. Doesn't get more. We don't say, hey, well, you have to divide it into 3. Give him one more. I only gave him 20. 20 can't be divided into 3. Give him one more shmais, and then we can make him a third. No, we don't do that. What if they said that he can receive 18? They started lashing him, and he says, that was nothing. You didn't even, come on, hit me harder. Didn't do anything to me. No, they said 18, right? He said, give me 39. You'll see, I can take 1,000. He's got power to make more. Doesn't make any difference. Putter. If they said 18, that's all that he gets is 18. But if he didn't get lashed yet, if they didn't begin, then they can change. And they can say, hey, we made a mistake. I guess not 18. We didn't mean 18. We mean that he could take 80. He could take 80 lashes. So it means that they give him 39. Can't get any more than that. What if a person did a sin that he did 2 sins? Now he has to get beaten 2 times, 40 times 40 times 2, 80. So let's say it's only 39 times 2. But 1 second, if you lash him twice, then that's more than 39. You're not allowed to do that. So what do they do? Omad echad. If so, what? What if they said, listen, this man cannot take any more than 39 lashes, even though he did 5 sins, and that. So what do they do? They said he can receive 39 for 1 sin, and owed 3 lashes for something else. So what do? They give him 32 lashes, and then he's exempt from getting more. Because he received his due. He received, if not, then what does he do? He can get beaten. Then he can receive whatever he said, and then he'll wait a little while. And then he gets beaten for the second one, like they say now. And the Gemara explains that if they said if they said that he can receive, let's say, 30 lashes for each one, the echad malchios, and the Gemara it says, if so, they'll give him 41 lashes. How much more so if it's less than this? Namely, they didn't add on. He did 2 sins. Elish lalavasheni elishtain malchios or pachos. If they said, the Gemara says that if they found him guilty for 1 sin, 39, and then they say, hey, but he did 2 sins, so now he has to get another few lashes. If the second one, they say, okay, the second one will just add on 2 lashes or 1, then that's not like Dino kamo shalo amdu elalav echad v'hu lokeh v'mitrapeh v'chozav v'lakeh. In other words, sometimes it is that a person, if let's say he did 5 sins, and in each sin they say that he can stand 20 malchus. That's all he can take, 20. So they say, okay, did 5 sins, so give him 20 malchus, let him go home. We'll bring him a doctor. We'll take care of him, right? And then as soon as he's okay, we'll bring him back here and we'll give him 20 more. And then we'll heal him again. He's guilty. So therefore, he gets beaten the full count, but not all at one time. As we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. See everyone tomorrow, 8:15 in the morning, and we'll continue the mimer.